Hello, and welcome to my first fun episode of 2021. I am sorry it took me so long, but trust me, you're about to see why. For today's episode, and also in celebration of February, I bring you what I call rebottled Sodaroos. My own take on some lore and history for Sodaroos as a species. The concept of Sodaroos isn't owned or policed by anyone because it simply means a kangaroo character who has a design inspired by some form of beverage. But we can't help but feel just a little bit jelly when we see other species have entire worlds built for them. So I thought, I guess I'll give it a go. This isn't really something that I've done before, so please don't expect like George R. Martin level story writing. But yeah, I did my best and I had fun along the way. The history and lore that I'm about to give you is entirely open source and optional. You are more than welcome to change it however you want or disregard it entirely. My goal is to set a sort of foundation for others to build upon if they want to give their Sodaroo characters a bit more depth but don't really know where to start. With all that said, let's just get into it. Take it away, voiceover Pocars.
We begin in Australia, a few decades into the not-so-distant future. The vast majority of Australia was now inhabited, with the population being quadrupled from what it is today, but there's still a lot of vacant desert in the middle. Australia's government is a little crooked, and they have decided that they need more money. So the government is like, alright mates, listen up. How about we sell the desert as advertising space? Because you know what people in the desert need the most? A bloody drink. Beverage companies from around the world immediately snatched up this opportunity, and within a matter of years, Australia's desert had been completely transformed into kilometers of drink advertisements, like everything from water to sodas to alcohol, everything and anything. Over time, a lot of the companies expressed interest in building automated vending machines there and even entire factories, but getting enough power to do that in the desert is easier said than done. To the majority of Australia's dismay, they opted for installing nuclear power plants all through the desert to meet these drink companies' needs and continue their sweet, sweet cash flow. As more and more factories and power plants went up, Australian citizens were losing their patience. Until one day, the news broke that due to habitat loss, the greater bilby was declared extinct in the wild, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Protests and riots broke out from all around the country to return the desert to its natural state, and obviously Big Drink Corp didn't want to budge on that, so people took it into their own hands and began raiding the source, the power plants. However, these power plants were built with the biggest corner-cutting methods possible to, of course, save more cash, and in the midst of all the scrambling to try and shut them down, the plants failed and went into full meltdown. The explosion was so extravagant that almost all life in Australia was wiped out, and the land was now an extremely dangerous radioactive wasteland. No boats or planes could even get near it without extreme complications. The rest of the world was like, well, screw that, that's not my business, that's not my circus, that is not my monkeys, out of sight, out of mind. And Australia was essentially wiped off the map. As hundreds of years passed, Australia's existence had faded from fact to myth. It was just widely accepted that for some reason, that area of the world was too dangerous to cross. However, over those 100 years, and unbeknownst to the rest of the world, Australia was evolving. A few members of each species survived the blast, and they still remain there fighting for survival. Before the blast, kangaroos were so widely abundant that they were actually classed as pests, so with their amazing strength and sheer amount of numbers, kangaroos had become the apex predator in these wastelands. Fast forward a few thousand years, we enter a time period of prehistory for Sodaroos. Humans are completely gone, there's mutated Australian animals skulking around that have to be defended from or hunted for food, there's a little bit of greenery starting to grow back, and kangaroos have gained intelligence and formed primitive communities. Some have even had evolution alter their appearances depending on what their clan is good at. For example, there's swimmers, whose tails are larger and flatter akin to a platypus, and their feet can splay out to reveal completely webbed feet. Hunters, roos that turned carnivore due to the lack of plant life and have large saber fangs and extremely large claws. climbers, hooked claws, and an extremely dexterous tail that they can use to swing through trees, and more. Insert your own ones here. It's also worth noting that pouches have now evolved to be found on any roo regardless of gender due to how useful they are. Throughout all the lands are remnants of the old drink factories that used to be there. Cans and bottles can be found literally anywhere, and being all colourful and shiny, kangaroos took quite the liking to them. They'd start collecting them, making accessories out of them, and decorating their dens with them. If there was another roo that they particularly fancied, they would present their feelings by gifting them with a bottle or a can that they thought resembled them in some way. Like similar markings, similar colours, or just a similar vibe. At this time, roos were still the traditional colours of browns, whites, and blacks, but every now and then there'd be a roo with a rare trait of having small markings of other colours. Fast forward about a million years, and we reach the time of modern Sodaroos. Thanks to evolution favouring roos who resemble drink designs, roos now come in the full spectrum of colours and designs as we know them today. Some also still inherit the physical traits of their ancestors, like the platypus tails and the fangs, though it is much more uncommon now. Sodaroos have reverse engineered the drinks that were once manufactured in these lands and now produce them themselves, either by hand or with primitive factories that are powered by wind or water. However, their branding tends to be a little bit off. But that is why ancient cans and bottles in good conditions are an extremely valuable commodity and will be bought at high prices by research facilities. The national currency is called tabs. They're made from melting down old Australia gold coins and leg pressed into the shape of a soda can tab. While Sodaroo technology has greatly advanced, it is still somewhat primitive. There are roads connecting the whole country, but no cars. Sodaroos have adapted to be incredible at long-distance journeys without needing to slow down or stop. If they need to, they can sleep bounce, where they're in a state of neither fully asleep nor fully awake, sort of an autopilot mode so they can get rest on those extremely long journeys. One thing that the Sodaroos have not yet cracked is refrigeration. They worked out that some Sodaroos had a special blood circulation that will draw heat from inside the pouch and circulate it out, keeping it cool on the inside. They discovered that drinks that were being stored in these colder pouches tasted a lot better, so some Sodaroos evolved special cooling pouches. In the same sort of vein, heating pouches also evolved for drinks that tasted better warm. And finally, Sodaroos that came from families with a long history of consuming and looking like one particular drink can draw out the oxygen in said beverage to the point where they can actually breathe in it. This allows bottled water-based Sodaroos to be able to live amphibious lives in clean and fresh water. As for Australia itself, it has been split up into 8 different territories, all based on the kinds of climates you'll find there, and each territory has its own sort of lifestyle. Let me give you a basic rundown on each one. The dry lands. Hot and dry, but not to the point it's unlivable. Mostly populated by soda, juice, and cordial-based Sodaroos. Housing styles are dens, brick cabins, wooden cabins, and outdoor living. The coverlands. The climate here changes on the daily. It can be freezing one day and blistering hot the next. As a result, you can find a very large variety of Sodaroos here. It works for pretty much everyone no matter what they prefer. House styles are dens, tree houses, wooden cabins, and outdoor plains. The highlands. Extremely cold, elevated lands that still don't snow. A quiet, peaceful place with thriving bird life. It's an ideal place for Sodaroos who are based on warm drinks or have heat pouches. House styles are dens, caves, and stone cabins. The floodlands. A comfortable climate, but the entire terrain is either marsh or deep water sporting many large trees. Only tree houses are found here, and large communities are connected by kilometers of rope bridges. Only Sodaroos adept at either climbing or swimming can thrive here. It's a very popular spot among alcohol-based Sodaroos. The Summerlands. Humid tropics that are absolutely carpeted with plant life. Sugarcane farming is an extremely profitable and popular profession here. Housing found here is tree houses, elevated cabins, and outdoor beach living. Energy and sports drink-based Sodaroos absolutely love it here. The Hardlands, the hottest and most arid area of the entire country. High winds, so a great place to farm wind energy. Cooling pouches are an absolute must to be able to live here. There's also still a few highly dangerous mutated creatures that roam these lands, but their meat and hide is extremely valuable. Only underground den-style housing is found here because it's the only way to get out of the heat. The Buildlands, the most built-up and industrial area. housing of all types are found here, there isn't a whole lot of natural land left. All the drink production facilities can be found here, and most factories are owned by that drink's respective family. This is also where most research facilities and wasteland expedition centers are based. It's a very bustling, noisy place, but it's easy living. All varieties of Sodaroos can thrive here. The wastelands. The worst affected area of the original nuclear meltdown, now turned extremely dangerous wasteland. The radiation is actually pretty much gone, but the life has been completely taken out of the soil and turned it a very dead grey colour. The land is completely flat. Everything looks the same in every direction. The air is still and eerie. Not all is quiet though. At completely random intervals, severe sandstorms rip through. Lives are commonly lost when a sandstorm occurs. It covers up their tracks or any attempts to make landmarks, so they are left to aimlessly wander around for the rest of their days. These wastelands are where the ruins of old drink factories can be found underground, so expedition teams will regularly go out to try and find these valuable remains to not only make some sweet extra cash, but help advance the Sodaroo Nation's drink-making abilities. It's a very specialised and dangerous profession, so only the absolutely strongest roos will even consider it. There are rivalries between different expedition groups, and things can get messy. Now those are the 8 territories, but underneath Australia there is a mystery 9th territory. The Sodaroo Nation first learned of this island when they discovered it on an ancient kitchen towel, and they believe it to be called Tasmania. But the radiation emitting from it is too great, and giant mutated sea life makes ocean travel impossible, so it has been completely untouched for millions of years. Nobody knows what lies there today.
And that is my rebottled Sodaroos. I tried to leave lots of room for people to create their own canon, so I hope it at least sparked a little bit of inspiration. I'll always have my own canon, but remember that this is completely free for you to go absolutely nuts with. It is my gift to you. Like, add some things that you wish I did, or take out some parts that you didn't like. Make your own version of rebottled Sodaroos. But if you'd rather just stick to my version, then you are more than welcome to. And if you want clarification on anything, feel free to leave some questions in the comments. Well, unless it's a science question, in which case my answer is nothing's impossible. I'm aware my science is very flimsy. I don't know how else to do this. If you want some help creating your very own Sodaroo character, I have my very own free-to-use base. Link to it in the description. You should totally come to my Twitch channel sometime as well. I just debuted some very special Sodaroo stream avatars, which are also made by yours truly. You can choose all your colors and your accessories, and then you have your very own little Sodaroo bouncing around on the bottom of the stream. I love it so much. There is so much more fun stuff that we can do with them, but this video is getting a tad bit long. So come follow me on twitch.tv/Pocari Sodaroo to come and see. Thank you so much for watching this video, especially if you made it this far. I super duper 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 appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you next for the 100th bottle episode. Ooh, I'm pretty excited. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you then. Bye!
This month's anniversary shoutouts go to Dante's Volk, who's been here for 4 years. Oh my god, thank you so much. And then for 3 whole years, we've got Dorogabo, Mobius, One Fog, Viper, Skullsol of the Pirate Cove, and Gorita-chan. Thank you guys so much. For 2 years, we've got King Kazma, Bleo Dathi, Troublemaker Studios, Jackpot, Shell Music FS, Justin MF, Jupiter Storm Dragon, Chibi Okamo, Draxfur. And for 1 year, we've got LW, Katie Sin, Scotty McScotch, Sitka Leon, Umud, Draco X Gaming, and Pixel. Thank you guys so much. Whew, wait, that was a hard one.